Welcome, welcome. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, my students. And how do we do? What do you think I should cook today? What should I cook today? I have some chicken breast. I think I should dice it up. I just saw a thing. Okay, chicken. Curry chicken. But dice up the chicken breast. I don't have to do it no more on the chicken breast. Just cube it up. Oh. But you guys gotta come back in the next live, because this is just the intro live. I'm about to go take a shower. Intro. Up long time, keep looking at people's stuff. You see how you could get distracted in the media? Now turning on mine instead of going and go do what I have to do. You get caught up. So maybe I do the curry chicken. I have a cabbage. I'm gonna use that cabbage too. And I need to get some fish. Let's see when I get to the kitchen. Right now, try to make my bed. Just planning, trying to figure it out as it go along. See, but yeah, I always have to go to YouTube studio. Sometimes I look at some of your stuff and it's like, okay, the stuff is not on. Okay, so YouTube been taking out the highlights. I like all this, that, and then again. couple of videos got abandoned while trying to upload. Uh, I don't know which phone I was trying to upload them from. I just gotta delete them. Let's see if we can find them in the draft. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Quick video. Guys, you know I've been just diagnosed with breast cancer and I have a hard decision to make. I have to see the doctor next week. Well, this week, Wednesday maybe. And they already tell me the options because the cancer come back in the same breast. It's a different type of cancer, but they say I should cut it off. If you have amputated your breast before, you could come into the comments and let me know how it is. I know several people already reached out to me, tell me they think that should be the best idea. I know yesterday a lady called me. I guess she saw a text I put up on Facebook. She called me and she was talking to me. Well, she called me, but I didn't know who it was, so I didn't answer. So then she started texting me. So she was telling me, yeah, she had cancer a couple of years ago. And she had one of her breasts amputated like 22 years now. What should I do? You gotta do what is best. Some people will say pray. Okay. As I said to mom, if prayer could have saved everything, then we would have prayed and all the miracles would be solved, isn't it? But we know they say prayer without faith is dead, but even though we pray, stuff still happen. Don't it? So prayer doesn't necessarily, it might prolong the situation, might, but what is the best option for me? What is going to be the best option for me? The last time I did I just cut this stuff, cut it, I forget what you call it now. I had the words down pack, I can't remember what the name now, and took the cancer out. But now since it come back in the same breast, the left breast, they think the best thing to do is to take it off. What do you think? It's gonna be hard. Do I have underwear back there? Oh my goodness, I'm recording. I know, look, I have underwear hang up back there, shit. Oh, Yeah, like it can get options because the breast the cancer come back in the same breast, so it's a different type of cancer. He said I should cut it off. If you have amputated your breast before, you could come into the comments and let me know how it is. And several people have already reached out to me, tell me they think that should be the best idea. And yesterday a lady called me, I guess she saw a text I put up on Facebook. She called me and she was talking to me. And she called me, but I didn't know who it was. I didn't answer, so then she started texting me. Good morning, Brother King, and everybody who's joining us this morning. I'm doing okay. It's a good weekend. It's a weekend where we remember those who served in the military, and so I'm remembering some family members and friends. And it's the kickoff of summer. And so, can I also just quickly say we've been so busy with so many, timely issues this month that something that you often do, you take a look at every year, but we haven't been able to spend any time on, and that is mental health awareness. And so this month is May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm just mindful in this moment that there's so much going on in the world, there's so much going on in the state, there's so much going on in New York City and in other cities that can often challenge us. There's so much going on in our personal lives, and we've all got to remember that it's okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay to say I need a moment. I need to step away. It's okay to say I need some help. And so, like I said, you acknowledge, you keep us moving on all the time, the issues, and you often pay attention to mental health. But I'm just reminded in this moment that this is a month where, like you just need to pay extra attention. But we're all going through a lot, and it's okay to seek help, and we should, when we're not doing well. And I agree with you. Just, excuse me, the same way we set aside time for Mother's Day, Father's Day, and other days that we acknowledge, it should be an everyday thing. That's why I've taken some time. I mean, this is it. This is it for the weekend. For me, this is it. Yeah. But our time is kind of short this morning because we have a fast-moving show this morning. So let's jump right in. So, family, New York City is on the cusp of a pivotal election year. While the general mayoral election takes place on Tuesday, November 4th, the Democratic primary, which often determines the next mayor in our city, is coming up fast on Tuesday, June 24th. And remember, it's ranked choice voting here in the city of New York. This year, it's a packed field with about 13 Democratic candidates on the ballot, all vying to lead the greatest city in the world. And this morning on Open Line, we're honored to host two of those candidates, giving them a platform to speak directly to you, the people. And of course, we want to hear from you too. So, folks, begin to call now. 212-545-1075. 212-545-1075. And I don't plan to be rude, but we have to stay on topic. We have two special guests, and this is what we're talking about this morning. So in the first half of today's
is a modified mastectomy, modified radical mastectomy. We don't do radical mastectomies, but very, very rarely. When the lymph nodes are removed, that's a complete mastectomy with lymph node removal. And what I'm going to talk about applies to either simple mastectomy or mastectomy with removal of the lymph nodes. Everything I say is included. In the immediate postoperative period, the first few days, you're going to have some pain. I would like to say discomfort, but it will be pain. It's very possible that your surgeon did a nerve block into the axilla, the armpit, and what that does is it helps numb the area for quite a while. After that, the pain can actually get a little bit worse when that nerve block wears off. You will be sent home from the doctor's office from the operation with instructions on how to manage pain. And we've had some other videos about the immediate post-operative period. In general, we don't need to give much more than a couple pills of a stronger acting narcotic analgesic. People who have a reconstruction, with their own tissue, will need more pain medicine. If you haven't had a reconstruction, it's very likely you can get away with just a couple of tablets. You are likely to go home with a drain. That's a very squishy tube that goes in the area of the surgery and it keeps fluid from accumulating. You'll get instructions on how to manage this. And you'll also get instructions on what you can and can't do with your arm. What I want to move to now is once you have the clear to start moving things, moving your arm and shoulder around, I'd like to talk a little bit about what you can do to regain the strength that you had. So one of the first things you'll want to do is work on your range of motion. You want to avoid getting a frozen shoulder. Let's say you have pain in the armpit and you don't move the arm, or you move the arm like this by tilting your body over. That's going to freeze your shoulder. So once you get the okay to do so, you want to start moving your arm away from your body. And you'll see I'm using my own hand, and that helps. You may have somebody, a friend that you trust who can help you. That's called guided arm exercises, where somebody is helping, and you can see the point at which you get stiffness or pain. At that point, you want to go just a little bit further, not to the point of excruciating pain or tearing feeling where you had your surgery, but just a little bit more. Every day you can do a little bit more, and you'll be amazed at how quickly you regain your range of motion. You
I don't need any other training because I'm already doing the work as co-leader of the city of New York for almost 4 years. And, we need a mayor that understands what it's like to be an everyday New Yorker. I'm in the same home that I've been in for over 35 years, raised our children, raising our grandchildren as well. And that's what the same thing with my neighbors see. And there are significant issues that I want to help flourish, and I'm really rooting for us. Raised by union hands, I've lived a life of a New Yorker. I don't have to worry about, what it is, because I live up here. And if I don't know what my neighbor feels like walking out of their front door, then I don't need to represent them in the city. But I am, a regular New Yorker. I serve not only the cause, my campaign isn't about personal glory or redemption. It's a campaign for the future of the city. So I'm going to fight for everyday New Yorkers, just like I always have. I'm going to fight Donald Trump. I have been vocal pretty much on a daily basis. Day after he brought to New York City. I have him in court right now because of the ICE situation. And we can talk more about that a little bit later, because the listeners need to hear that the mayor wants to bring ICE back to Rikers Island, which has been illegal since 2014. Jeopardizing our sanctuary city laws, and have the mayoral administration in court right now. The executive order is illegal, and if Donald Trump is able to run roughshod over our sanctuary city laws and protecting our immigrants, then I have to stand up and protect the people, because we cannot have Donald Trump doing to New York City what he is doing across the nation. People are disappearing who haven't even committed any crimes. So I refuse to let that happen in our city. I refuse to stand by and let an illegal executive order walk. The judge agreed, actually, and gave us our CRO a few weeks ago. So we do have a temporary restraining order. She said that our case has merit, and she's going to hear that case over the next few weeks. So New York City, anyone serving a special interest is bigger than any mayor or president. And our city is absolutely full of hope. We are not in crisis. We have been through worse. We're going to get through this. And as the mayor of the city of New York, the first woman,
all the miracles will be solved, isn't it?
do this job. That's very much.
But we know it's a prayer with the faith, but we don't pray, stuff still happens.
One of those people who finds that out, super agent
You might prolong the situation, right? Of which is the best option for me? What is going to be the best option for me? There are some related I just got this call this what do they call it I report some bacteria cancer out. But now since it comes in the same breast, for that breast, I think the best thing to do is take care of it. It's really hard. Yeah, it's
Hey, Dr. Amy here, and in this video I'm showing you 12 foods that help cancer cells die. You do not want to miss out on these foods that could keep you cancer free. The food you eat matters. Whether you've just been diagnosed with cancer, years out from your cancer treatment, or even if you're high risk of developing cancer, we know that food matters when it comes to cancer. You can either fuel your cancer through your food or use your food to help fight against cancer. You need to get started with these foods right away. Starting with number one, berries. Berries have long been established to protect against a variety of cancer. They're rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber. It's the higher level of antioxidants and fiber in berries that truly lower your risk of cancer. This is the first change that I make for women that work with me in the Cancer Freedom Program. It's so simple and it makes a big impact. If you're at a high risk of developing cancer, or if you want to prevent a cancer recurrence, then start including more berries right away. A mistake that a lot of cancer survivors make is that they search for one single food that will cure cancer. But this is a completely wrong approach. A lot of cancer survivors will start including things like mushroom coffee or soursop because they think that that's going to make the difference in keeping them cancer free. And while these things might help, it's just not the whole picture in keeping yourself healthy, strong, and free of cancer. There is no one magical food that's going to solve this problem. It just doesn't exist. What is far more important is the combination of foods that you eat together. Your overall nutrition and diet is what has the potential to lower your risk of cancer. It's using a combination of foods together that can effectively lower your risk. A great place to start is with berries. Include more blueberries, blackberries, or raspberries in your nutrition. Of course, if you can eat them fresh, then that is best. But they're also really delicious frozen. That's a great option as well. That leads me to the second food that will help keep you cancer free: citrus fruits. As a cancer survivor, we know that your body has been under oxidative stress for a very long time. Before you even knew you had cancer, your body was fighting off cancer cells. Then it went through surgery, chemo, radiation, months and months, maybe even years of treatment. And all of this means that when you're done, your antioxidant levels are really low. The concern around having low antioxidant levels is that your immune system is going to be compromised. With low antioxidant levels, you're more likely to catch the common cold or flu, but you're also more likely to have a cancer recurrence. Keeping your antioxidant levels up will help lower your risk of cancer. And citrus fruits are full of antioxidants. Antioxidants like vitamin C, which can help boost up your antioxidants and support your immune system. Oranges and lemon water were some of my favorite favorite picks when I was completing my doctorate training at the University of Toronto. I knew the high stress levels were an issue for my body, so I needed to fuel it in order to perform for those long days at the hospital. Using citrus fruits helped me stay healthier for a longer period of time. Antioxidants have also been shown to be particularly helpful in cancers like stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, and colorectal cancer. That actually leads me to the next food that can really lower your cancer risk, but this one is pretty controversial, so I'm gonna save it to the end. The next food to include is garlic. Garlic contains compounds known as organosulfurs. These compounds have been associated with decreasing the risk of certain types of cancers. This is why you might commonly see garlic being used as a supplement among cancer survivors. How effective garlic is as a supplement for cancer survivors is a little bit unclear, but we do know that organosulfur compounds included in your nutrition can lower your risk of cancer. This is a good option, so start adding this to your diet. And garlic can easily be added to a tomato-based sauce, which actually leads me to the next food that you need to start including, tomatoes. Tomatoes are an excellent source of lycopene. Lycopene is an antioxidant that helps lower your risk of cancer. It can be as simple as making a tomato-based sauce and adding garlic, but you can also add this next food to really amp up the cancer fighting potential. A breast cancer survivor that I work with in the Cancer Freedom Program was really focused on including more foods to help fight off cancer. So we created a one-pot soup that was perfect for fighting cancer and for cold, rainy days. It had tomatoes, cauliflower, turmeric, lentils, and garlic. It was including a lot of foods that are really known for helping keep you cancer free. And this actually leads me to the next food that helps cancer cells die, cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables are things like kale, broccoli, cauliflower, or even Brussels sprouts. These are all great options to add into your nutrition. Cruciferous vegetables include compounds called glycosinolates. These are known for lowering your cancer risk, but these vegetables are also very high in fiber, which has been proven to again lower your risk of cancer. We know that in cultures that eat higher amounts of fiber, they actually have lower rates of cancer. And the easiest way to eat more fiber is to simply eat more vegetables. Personally, I've tried a bunch of strategies to increase the fiber in my diet, and the simplest, most straightforward way to do it is to just eat more veggies. But people get hung up on including more vegetables in their diet. Maybe you just don't like the taste of raw veggies, or you just can't imagine snacking on carrot sticks and cucumbers. If that's the case, then it is okay to use various sauces to help you increase your veggie load. Try things like ranch dip, hummus, or tzatziki to help support you in getting more vegetables into your nutrition. The first thing that we want to do is increase your veggies. Then down the road, we can look at getting rid of or limiting sauces or dips that may not be always the best option for you. But for now, just focus on increasing your veggies, because that is what's truly going to lower your cancer risk. This leads me to my next food that helps cancer cells die. That's leafy green vegetables. These are veggies like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, or other types of leaf leafy veggies. These foods are packed with antioxidants, fiber, vitamin C, which are all going to protect you against cancer cells. Eating after cancer should really focus on one core principle: to eat a plant-forward diet. Now, a plant-forward diet can still contain animal products, things like chicken, turkey, dairy, or seafood, but the majority of food that you eat should come from plants. There are several cancer prevention guidelines that make the same recommendation. The American Cancer Institute suggests a diet that's high in fruits and vegetables, beans and legumes, and whole grains. The American Cancer Society gives nearly the exact same recommendation. So if you truly want to take just one simple step towards lowering your risk of cancer, then you've got to eat more vegetables. A great place to start is including more veggies at all of your meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper. As you become more used to eating more veggies, then you can start aiming for a half a plate of veggies at every single meal. Now, this suggestion of a half plate of veggies does seem like a lot of veggies. That's because it is. That's actually a large amount of vegetables to eat. But if you're truly dedicated to doing everything in your power to lower your risk of cancer, then a half a plate of veggies is the way you've got to go. The next food that helps prevent cancer is green tea. Green tea is thought to have many anti-cancer properties. It's specifically been shown to reduce the risk of breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and prostate cancer. Green tea is also very beneficial in recovering from chemo brain. If you're struggling with brain fog or mental clarity after cancer, then this is actually a great option for you. Many women find that they're unable to multitask, focus in conversations, or they can't quite recall facts as quickly as they could before cancer. This is often the result of what's commonly referred to as chemo brain. Now, chemo brain does have several contributing factors, and nutrition is definitely one of them. So we want to increase the amount of flavonoids in your diet, and green tea is an excellent source of flavonoids. So you can start working a cup of decaf green tea into your daily routine. The next food that you want to eat to help prevent cancer is seeds and nuts. These are things like almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, or chia seeds. These types of foods give you healthy fats, fiber, and antioxidants. They offer a ton of nutrition in just a little bite, but there are good things about seeds and nuts, and there's also bad things. The majority of women who go through cancer treatment actually end up gaining weight. We know that being at an unhealthy body weight actually increases your risk of a cancer recurrence. It's a tough reality. Going through cancer treatment causes you to gain weight, and that's certainly what happened to me. During my chemotherapy, I gained about 20 pounds. It was a combination of emotional eating, lack of exercise because of surgery restrictions, and steroids. But when I came out the other side, I was at a body weight that wasn't healthy for me. I didn't feel like myself, I didn't look like myself, and I knew it was increasing my risk of a cancer recurrence. I needed to drop the weight. This is going to be including an amount of seeds or nuts that are actually quite small. Maybe you want to add it on top of yogurt or on top of salad, but you're going to keep the serving size small, and you want to make sure you get this right. The next food to include is fatty fish. These are fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines. Including fish that are high in omega-3s and healthy fats are known to lower the risk of cancer, especially breast cancer. When we look at all the diets to help lower your risk of cancer, the keto diet, the carnivore diet, the Mediterranean diet, well, it's always the Mediterranean diet that comes out as the winner. This is what's been shown to be effective in lowering your risk of a cancer recurrence, and fatty fish are a big part of the Mediterranean diet. You can start by aiming to eat fish once a week and then eventually moving up to twice a week. The next food I have to include on this list is beans and legumes. Beans and legumes have consistently been shown to lower your risk of cancer, yet hardly anyone's eating them. This includes things like black beans, lentils, or chickpeas. Not only are they high in fiber, so they're known to lower your risk of cancer, but they also include compounds that are specifically shown to lower the risk of colorectal cancer. The next food that I'm going to include is going to be, no surprise to you, whole grains. Whole grains are high in fiber, antioxidants, and vitamins. There's a clear pattern here. We know that certain things lower your risk of cancer, and we need to get antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, and minerals from various foods. But whole grains are a clear winner to help prevent cancer. Okay, but that leads me to this next food that helps kill cancer cells, and this one is kind of controversial. Turmeric. Now, overall, turmeric, or curcumin, which is the active ingredient in turmeric, is known for its anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer properties. It's known to reduce several different types of cancer, but the controversy comes with breast cancer survivors. Turmeric should not be taken if you're also taking tamoxifen. Now, tamoxifen is a known prodrug, which means when you take a tamoxifen tablet, it needs to go into the body and undergo a process in order to become its active form. It gets transformed to the active form of tamoxifen by an enzyme. Unfortunately, curcumin interacts with this enzyme, which means tamoxifen can't convert to the active form. If curcumin stops tamoxifen from being converted, then you're not going to get any benefit from tamoxifen, and it's not going to lower your risk of cancer. Curcumin makes tamoxifen less effective or even ineffective. This means turmeric might be a good choice for cancer survivors as long as you're not on tamoxifen. Okay, so now that you know about these 12 foods that help kill cancer cells, we now need to shift over to your exercise. You can lower your risk by up to 59% if you hit targeted exercise levels. That's better than a lot of the drugs on the market. That's exactly why I'm linking up this next video here on exercises that you need to start doing right away as a cancer survivor. Click the link here. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, Dr. Amy here, and I'm giving you a sneak peek inside my own personal anti-cancer grocery list. These specific foods have been shown to lower your risk of cancer or a cancer recurrence, and I'm going to show you exactly what to buy at the grocery store. There are so many myths around food and cancer that even the most brilliant people fall victim to them. I do not want you to make the same mistake. So let's put an end to this once and for all so you can feel safe in your body once again. And the last section of my anti-cancer grocery list, well, this is going to surprise you. But first, let's start with the produce section. This is the most important part of your grocery list as a cancer survivor, and this is where you should be spending the majority of your time. Nature gives us an abundance of powerful anti-cancer foods. Let's load up on the right ones. First up is berries. Whether it's blueberries or strawberries, these little powerhouses are packed with antioxidants that help protect your cells from damage. They're also a delicious addition to your morning oatmeal, or they're a great and refreshing snack in the middle of the day. I usually get whatever is in season, but we're actually going to circle back to berries in a little bit. More on that in a bit. Next on your list are greens, arugula, spinach, Swiss chard. These leafy greens contain a variety of vitamins, minerals, and have been linked to lowering your risk of cancer. Incorporate them into salads or stir fries for a tasty and nutritious boost. Now, most cancer survivors opt for a salad for lunch. This is the typical thing you pack and head to work. It's easy to toss together and include leftovers. So let me show you why most cancer survivors mess this up. Salads are great, but if you're missing a key ingredient, then you're missing out on huge cancer-fighting potential. Now, typically, women build a salad that's loaded with a bunch of different leafy greens. Sounds amazing, right? It sounds so nourishing, and it is. We know that eating plant-forward will lower your risk of cancer, so great work. But here's what most cancer survivors forget. They forget about the protein. Cancer survivors are in desperate need of protein. Your cells need protein in order to heal. This is also really important for wound healing after surgery. So if you're building a salad, you also need to be adding two different protein sources. This could be something like chicken or low-fat cheese, or chickpeas or nutritional yeast. Okay, but if you're anything like me, then you're always short on time. Rushing into work, you gotta grab the kids, your hubby's calling you because he needs something. Oh, and you forgot to buy a birthday present for your mom. It's exhausting. And there are days that I want to eat healthy. I want to support my cancer remission, but I just do not have time. So here is exactly what you need to do. If you're looking for a quick and convenient option, then be sure to add pre-made salads to your list. They contain a variety of vegetables like lettuce, cabbage, carrots. It's providing you with a wide range of cancer-fighting foods, all in an easy-to-go package. Just be mindful of the dressing included and be sure to opt for healthier options. Okay, next, don't forget to add zucchini and green beans to your cart. These veggies are not only low in calories, but they're also high in fiber, vitamins, and nutrients that are also going to help fight cancer. The high fiber content is also going to promote a healthy digestive system, which is critical in lowering certain types of cancers, especially breast cancer and colorectal cancer. Carrots are another great addition to your grocery list. Not only are they delicious and crunchy, but they also contain a high amount of beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is a powerful antioxidant that your body actually converts to vitamin A. A study suggests that eating high amounts of beta-carotene will lower your risk of certain types of cancer, specifically lung and stomach cancer. Okay, but look, if you're thinking all of these veggies, this is just too much. You might not even really like veggies, so adding all of these to your nutrition, well, that's not going to be easy. Well, your main focus is to get your veggie intake up. So this might mean dipping your veggies in hummus or some homemade ranch dressing, or hiding them in pasta sauce. The main goal is to get your veggies up. Okay, but sticking in the produce section, there are still a few more things you need to grab. apples, the classic and versatile fruit, they deserve a place in your cart. They contain a unique combination of antioxidants, dietary fiber, and phytochemicals that have been shown to lower the risk of cancer, specifically colorectal cancer. They're also convenient and they have a great shelf life. One of the really big struggles in trying to eat healthy to lower your risk of cancer is that the food doesn't last very long before it goes bad. It's frustrating because you feel like you need to go grocery shopping every single day. But apples last a long time in your fridge. You can also toss them in your work bag for later, or chop them up and include them in a recipe. So grab a few apples and include them as a convenient and nutritious snack. Finally, we have garlic and fresh herbs. If you've been struggling with changes in your taste or low appetite after your cancer treatment, then you need to start including more fresh herbs and garlic. This is really going to punch up the flavor and add more taste. Not only do they add flavor to your dishes, but they also have some potential health benefits. Garlic, in particular, has compounds that have been studied to have anti-cancer properties. Fresh herbs like basil, parsley, or cilantro, not only do they make your dishes taste great, but they also have antioxidants. Okay, but moving on to the dairy section, let's focus on some low-fat, high-protein options. These can be really beneficial in reducing your cancer risk. Now, I choose low-fat dairy options for two reasons. The first is that we know that the majority of women who undergo cancer or cancer treatment, well, they actually end up gaining weight because of their treatment, not losing weight. Now, not to say that absolutely everyone gains weight during their treatment, some people definitely lose. So if you're one of these people, I see you. But the majority, 60%, actually gain weight. The steroids, the surgery restrictions, the stress eating, it's a lot of obstacles in your path. And we know that being at a heavy or an unhealthy body weight, well, that will actually
today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You know the man. You don't know. He's waking you up weekday mornings from 6 to 11. No way. This is the home of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. You best believe it. It's our very own Steve Harvey.
For Memorial Day, would you rather have a seafood boil or would you rather have a barbecue?
Oh, geez. Barbecue. Oh, barbecue in the spread that paper out, cut it bag over there. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, who is y'all? Move back. That's my side. I'm looking over there at the crab, man. You grab it. What?
Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on 107.5 WBLS.
Welcome back to Open Line right here on 107.5 WBLS. To reach us on Open Line, you can call us at 212-545-1075. You can reach us on Facebook or X by going to WBLS 1075 NYC, and we are streaming live at WBLS.com, and that is the best way if you're going to listen online to listen to the broadcast, because a lot of these other search engines we have no control over. And I just checked with our producer, Brother Knowledge, and WBLS.com is working. And thank you to our loyal supporter, Jessica Dewberry, who says she switched over to WBLS.com and she's hearing the broadcast. So thank you, Sister Jessica, for that. A couple of quick announcements. Open Line Online Sunday edition is off today for the Memorial Day holiday. Continuing on air will be Sunday morning with Reverend Al Sharpton, coming up at the top of the hour at 9 a.m. to be followed by the legendary MOTEP Gary Burley. Express yourself at 10 a.m. and schedule a question for the mayor. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is scheduled to make his monthly appearance on MOTEP Gary Bird's show this morning. And folks, today at 4 p.m., join the George Floyd Memorial March and plaque unveiling, starting at Lincoln Terrace Park, which is located at Buffalo Avenue and East New York Avenue in the borough of Brooklyn, New York. The march ends at Zion Triangle, which is located at Pickett Avenue and Legion Street, with a big plaque unveiling.
Nothing
For details, call area code 929-320-3911. It's 929-320-3911. family, as we continue this morning's conversation around the future leadership of our city of New York, we're excited to welcome as first-time guest to Open Line, New York State Assembly Member Zoran Mamdani, representing District 36 in Astoria, Queens since 2021. He's been a bold voice for housing justice, transit equity, and progressive reform. A member of the Democratic Socialists of America, he's galvanized a grassroots movement powered by over 20,000 volunteers and has raised more than $8 million in small dollar donations. If elected, he would make history as New York City's first Muslim mayor. Now he's making his case to voters as a Democratic candidate in the upcoming June 24th primary. So let's get into it with New York State Assembly member and mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani. Welcome to Open Line.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us and making yourself available. We just had New York City Speaker Adrian Adams on before you, and now we're going to kick off some questions to you and then open up the phone line. So, you've been campaigning as a national organization powered by grassroots organizing in small villages. What do you believe that momentum says about the appetite for change among New Yorkers right now? And just to let folks know that in the most recent polls and prior polls, you have honestly been polling pretty high, second behind former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's also a candidate for mayor.
You know, it is the case that when you look at these polls that you mentioned, you can see the last 5 or 6 polls were in second place time after time and time again. And what it shows is that New Yorkers are hungry. They're hungry for a different kind of politics, a politics that puts working people first. Because so often politicians will say, New York City is the greatest city in the world. But it reminds me of the words of Dr. King, who said, what good is having the right to sit at a lunch counter if you can't afford to buy a hamburger? What good is calling this the greatest city in the world if you can't afford to pay your rent or your child care or your groceries or even your Metro card? And this campaign, for the 7 months that we've been running it, has had a very clear message, which is to make this city affordable. And we're going to do so by freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, by making the slowest buses in the country fast and free, and by delivering universal child care to each and every family, no matter whether their child is 6 weeks or 5 years of age.
Real quick, because Jennifer's going to jump in. How do you freeze the rent? I mean, you have landlords that are saying that their prices are electrically, and a lot of people are looking at it, and the fact that they just can't afford it. How do you go out there in affordable housing and freeze the rent?
So we have 2.5 million people, close to 2.5 million live in rent-stabilized housing. And their rent increase or lack thereof is determined by a board called the Rent Guidelines Board. That board is composed of 9 members. The mayor appoints each one of those members. And this board, in the previous administration, froze the rent 3 times. Now, under this current mayor, the board has instead raised the rent 9%. And this year, it looks like they could raise the rent up to 8% on top of that. We're still waiting to see their final decision. And when the board did their research as to the status and state of these landlords and their profits and that of the tenants, they found the tenants have a median household income of $60,000 a year. The landlords saw their profits increase by 12%. So what we're saying is when you look at those statistics, you see room for relief for the working class tenants, especially those, fixed income seniors who cannot afford any kind of a raise in a moment when they're just barely being able to afford to live in New York City. And our city government also has a responsibility to do everything we can to keep the other costs lower. Unlike this current administration, I would not be raising the water bill to the highest it's been in 13 years. I would not side with Con Edison when they want to raise gas and electric $65 a month. I would not be, justifying and defending a property tax system that we know is inequitable. But when you do those things, you also have to stand up for the tenants who right now just don't have enough money in their pocket to keep calling themselves New Yorkers.
That's a fresh message there, and that so far what I've heard, Sister Jennifer, I like what I'm hearing right there, yeah. Jennifer.
Assemblyman Mamdani, it's great to have you with us, and I'm just going to appreciate it. I heard about you. I've never met you, but I've heard about you back during the Kamala Harris campaign when some women were on a bus going down to Philadelphia to canvass, and your candidacy was brought up and then you came to that House of Justice on Christmas Day, and I remember my son and daughter standing and serving with you, and they leaned in, and so now others get an opportunity to lean in, and people they're delighted to hear what you're talking about. Now you have a good understanding of the issues that are challenging us, and you've got some great policy proposals. The question is, when so many middle-income New Yorkers are leaving New York City, when we're concerned about, commercial, like the commercial economy, possibly going to e-commerce, how do we pay with all that's happening at the federal level? How do we pay for the policy proposals that you have that you want to serve New Yorkers with?
So this is a great question because at its core is a question of whether we actually want to follow through on these ideas. And I believe that these ideas are only as good as their implementation. And the way you implement them is you raise the revenue required. So we've put forward a proposal that would raise $10 billion a year, which would not only pay for this entire agenda, but also start to Trump-proof our city. And what I mean by that is ensure that we have the fiscal independence to be able to fight Donald Trump when he wants to hold federal funding as leverage over our heads to give up whichever New Yorker he desires in that single day. And we raise this money in two key ways. The first is we follow the example of our regional neighbors. Our top corporate tax rate in New York State is 7.25%. That is the legacy of having a Governor Pataki, decades ago. The top corporate tax rate of New Jersey is 11.5%. If we were to just match that of New Jersey, that would raise $5 billion a year. Now, when you talk about raising the top corporate tax rate, this is applicable to corporations that are making millions of dollars in profit. So not in revenue, but in profits. People typically say, well, those corporations may leave. But the nature of our corporate tax law in New York State is that it applies to any corporation doing business in New York, not just the ones that are headquartered here. So even if you're headquartered in Miami and you do business in New York State, it's applicable to you. And the reason I'm confident that everyone will continue to do business here is that our city has a $1.3 trillion economy, and our state, if it was a country, would have the 10th largest GDP in the world. So there's a lot of business to be done here. It's just important that that business also assists the very working class New Yorkers who make it possible. And the second way that we raise the $4 billion of that $10 billion is by increasing income taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by a flat increase of just 2%. So these are New Yorkers who make $1 million a year or more. We would be talking about adding an additional tax to them of $20,000 a year, basically a rounding error for individual levels. But when you add it all up together, that's $4 billion. And that's the kind of money that allows these kinds of investments to make the bus fast and free, to deliver universal child care, and ultimately to live up to our commitments to social justice, because we know that social justice without economic justice is like clapping with one hand. And if we don't actually follow through on these commitments, we start to lose our city. As we've seen from 2010 to 2019, we lost nearly 20% of our population of black children and teenagers because of how expensive we make it to raise a family in this city. Wow. I tell you, 212-545-1075. We could go on, but our time is short and the lines are filled. So Jennifer, I'm going to turn the phones over to you. I'm just going to do all the callers. Your question or comment, please be brief. I don't want to interrupt, but I want to move this and get as many people in as possible in the remaining time. Jennifer?
All right, let's go to line one to John from Florida. Good morning, John.
Good morning. My two quick questions. Risky other candidates were on, but I think you can answer this question. Your feelings, if you become mayor, about the detention camp there in New York City that Trump wants to initiate. We already saw what happened in North. That's a disaster. Your feelings about that? And one final question, your feelings about reparations. Thank you very much for African Americans. Thank you.
I really appreciate these questions, and I'll start with the second one, which is that I'm fully in support of reparations. It's a debt that our country owes Black Americans and is one that has to be paid. And on your first question, I was proud to go to Delaney Hall, the ICE detention facility in Newark, to to call for the release of Mayor Baraka on the day that he was arrested. And it was incredible to see him come out of that facility and address all of us there in Newark and address us with a language of unity in this moment of division. And what he has said over the time that he has been the mayor is that we cannot fight extremism with moderation. And that is a message we need in our city, because we have seen with the current mayoral administration, it is a message more of collaboration, and we have seen from our former governor that when New York change, he can't even step forward and say they should be released. So my views on any prospective ICE departure that there is no room for ICE in this city. It is an agency that operates more as if they are thugs seizing people off the streets, off of their apartment lobbies, as they're moving around their life in New York City. And we are a city of laws, we are a city of values, and we are a city that will protect each and every New Yorker.
All right, let's go to line 6 to Wale from Manhattan. Good morning, Wale.
Good morning. The New York City Housing Authority needs to be investigated. And the way the mayor advocate $1 billion, but the tenants will never see that money. They claim they need $83 billion, but it's not. The problem is, these so-called leadership, they go to the tenant associations and speak to the tenant leaders. They don't come to the residents. What needs to be investigated is the millions of dollars that HUD, HG, the Housing Urban Development, gives to tenant associations, puts it in an account. It's called Tenant Participation Activity Funds. The last thing I'm going to say, Wale, that needs to be investigated from top to bottom. Because it's not that they don't have the money, they're stealing the money, along with some of these tenants.
Thank you. Okay, Wale, let's just go to Senator Mandani. Do you have a comment on that?
Yes, I think, where Wale's question is also coming from is the deep sense of betrayal that many New Yorkers feel, especially if they are NYCHA residents. These are hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers who have been betrayed by city government, state government, and federal government. And as Wale was saying, the estimates of repairs that have been shared publicly is in need of a capital investment north of $80 billion. And yet, as is also clear, there is a deep need to look at NYCHA top to bottom and ensure that every single dollar we have today is actually being spent to the benefit of our tenants. Because so often when we talk about the housing crisis, we talk about it solely in the context of whether or not New Yorkers can afford a place to live. But there's another crisis, which is the place that they can afford also safe and habitable? And as someone who represents Queensbridge Houses, the largest public housing development in North America, I can tell you I have met with many a constituent who the housing they are living in is not fit to be called that. It is housing that desperately needs repairs. It needs actual concern to be followed through on by their city government. And what we've seen under this administration is that the thing which should be easiest, which is filling a vacant unit in NYCHA in the midst of a housing crisis, is now something they can't even do within one calendar year. There is a need to bring excellence back to our public service, and that's what I will be doing, whether we're talking about NYCHA or anything with regards to city government.
Thank you. Line 2, Patricia from Manhattan.
Good morning, and thank you very much for taking my call. I think I would like to ask the candidate to differentiate himself from former Governor Cuomo. I think it's really important that we have a sense of what differentiates him from Cuomo. I know Cuomo from his years when he disinvested in the MTA. I know about Cuomo when he disbanded the Moreland Commission, who was investigating corruption. I think one of the things that Cuomo's candidacy is talking about is socialism. And I was in Paris last year and had to go to the emergency room and was treated and walked away without a bill. And so socialism is not a bad thing. And I think I want to demystify what socialism is. So I would like the candidate to talk about how he differentiates himself from the governor from a socialist position. Candidate Mandani. I think you know who I am.
Thank you, Patricia. Appreciate that. Assembly member?
Yes, Patricia, I do know, and I appreciate the question. I think, just to be very clear, as someone who is a democratic socialist who learned these words from Bernie Bernie Sanders' 2016 presidential race, these words to me, they mean a belief in the dignity of each and every person, and that it's city government's responsibility to ensure that that dignity is actually something they experience in their life. And when you ask New Yorkers, it's actually fairly common sense when we say every New Yorker should have the right to public education, to K through 12. Every New Yorker should have public transit. There should be libraries, sanitation. And yet there are other things that we know are just as important, and yet we are comfortable with New Yorkers being priced out of it. You know, we know that housing is a necessity to live in this city, and yet we're comfortable with people being pushed out of it and made homeless. We know that people need to eat food in order to be able to survive, and yet we're comfortable with grocery stores with prices that no New Yorker can afford when they're living on an income that is putting them in poverty. And that is at the core of my message, is how do we bring dignity back into each and every person's life? And, you know, to the question of how do I distinguish myself from Mr. Cuomo, I think in one part through my record, you know, this is a former governor who stole hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I am an assembly member who won hundreds of millions of dollars for the MTA, most notably $100 million in 2023 that increased bus service, subway service, and won a first-of-its-kind fare-free bus pilot, where we made one bus route free in each borough of New York City. And secondly, in this moment, New Yorkers are looking for a mayor who will stand up to Donald Trump. And I am a mayor who, in the words of Curtis Chisholm, is unbiased and unbiased. I can say that because I have raised $8 million from 20,000 people with an average donation of $3. This is money that is coming from working middle-class people across the city. And when I look at former Governor Cuomo's super PAC that's supporting him, it's supported by $250,000 checks for someone like Bill Ackman, who has made it his life's mission to dismantle DEI programs across this country. It is money that is coming in from the same people who put Donald Trump into Washington, D.C. and the White House. How can you have the independence needed to fight back against that administration if ultimately you pick up the phone and the same donors call you? To the point that you said, it's the kind of what we just talk about it, we have to be about it. When I think about the words of James 2:14, faith without works is death. We need to start delivering on the beliefs that we say that we hold. If we do not, we will lose this city that we love. And this is a campaign about delivering that affordability. It's a campaign that wants to put more money in the pockets of working class New Yorkers. Because I remember getting on a bus just a few years ago, speaking to a older senior who was telling me, I used to love New York. Now it's just where I live. This is still a city that we can love. This is still a city that we can fight for. But we need to usher in a new generation of leadership, not the same ones that brought us to this point. And I am proud to have gotten to this point where we're in second place with 30 days to go. And now is the time that I ask New Yorkers to turn the page and start to actually afford a city where they can do more than just struggle.
All right. Assemblyman, the New York State Assembly member, Ron Mondani, we want to thank you. We'll be back.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, because
thank you so much. This has been such a pleasure.
Yes, and we have an open line online broadcast that we want to invite you and some of the other candidates on as well. So thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule for joining us this morning. Okay?
Always. I would love to come back whenever, wherever. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Sister Jennifer, that was very interesting there. You know, and I'll say, you know, this follows in the footsteps of not only you, but your father, Dr. King. You know, so your final thoughts, Jennifer.
We've got some choices to make New York City, and this is the moment where we've got to vote not just based, we've learned we can't just vote based on identity politics. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't put a woman in, doesn't mean that we shouldn't put a black person in, but we have to vote based on what is going to move us forward as a people, a community, and make sure that we all get to live with dignity.
Exactly. Thank you, Sister Jennifer. Open line. Let me thank our Open Line production team. associate producer Lauren Williams, production assistant Juliana Mardell, and tech producer Rick Wright. And family, as we close out this Memorial Day weekend edition of Open Line, let's not forget our democracy thrives when we show up. June 24th is primary day here in New York City, and the power to shape our future starts with us. Every single vote counts. Special thanks to our guest, New York City Council Speaker and mayoral candidate Adrian Adams, and New York State Assembly member and mayoral candidate Zoran Mondani for joining us and speaking directly to the people. And let me just say this real quick. We're not begging other candidates. We're going to invite you on. We're not going to twist your arm. But do remember, you campaign and you come to the black community and you want our vote. You got to come and talk to the people. Much love and gratitude to my sister in the struggle, my co-host attorney, and advocate Jennifer Jones Austin Esquire. I'm your brother Patine, and this is Open Line on 107.5 WBLS. So until next time, stay awake, stay engaged, and stay in the fight. Peace and power, and be safe on this Memorial Day weekend. God bless.
I remember my mom as a vibrant woman full of life. She enjoyed walking, dancing, and traveling with her friends. But now, since she started having leg pain, she has become isolated and hardly ever leaves home. I want my energetic mom back.
If you or a loved one is experiencing pain, numbness, tingling, and restless legs, leaving you with limited mobility, this is not a normal part of aging. Vascular Centers of America can help get your life back. Call 833-7-MY-LEGS. That's 833-7-MY-LEGS.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner. With over $18 billion in business loans and more than 190 business specialists right here in Metro New York. They help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation. All rights reserved.
On the road, rush hour doesn't always move so fast. But at home, Optimum Fiber doesn't take slow for an answer. Get the fastest fiber internet in the tri-state, starting at $40 a month. So you can, with lightning fast fiber. Optimum Fiber. Don't take slow for an answer. Call 888-4-OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com to switch today. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details. They say a dog, hey, that's Steve, can be a man's best friend. I say I agree with that. But that's not always the case. You see, some people are scared of dogs. They'll run if they see a dog. They'll run. Some people don't like them. Some people been bit by it before. Some people been bit. Insurance companies, they don't like them. They've been bit before. They don't like them. Call your insurance company right now and talk. Act like you a dog. Watch what happens. They gonna hand up on you. They gonna take you top dog. And they don't like that dog. They don't like them. They been bit before. They don't like them. That's the top dog do. Call them and start barking. Ask them if you want me to fight you. That's why you call them if you get into an accident. Let them go fight them. Top dog law. Thanks to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees him. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G, and even turn his hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame, putting iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total Wireless in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid until July 2nd. If you can apply, requires 14 and 30 registration. Experiencing pain in your knee? Have you been diagnosed with arthritis and your current treatment is just not working? Is your pain preventing you from your normal activities? Do you want to possibly avoid having knee replacement surgery? Well, now there are innovative non-surgical options that can help eliminate your knee pain. Call Knee Pain Center of America and get your life back. Call today. You have nothing to lose but your pain. Call at 833-8-MY-KNEE. That's 833-8-MY-KNEE.
Open to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Father's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with a grad picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for dads and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/ /print for details.
Summer is here. Intertwined Productions presents Lift Every Voice, a Juneteenth celebration of music and movement, honoring the legacy of Empire Rollerdrome at Brooklyn's brand new rig, Xanadu Roller Art, with live performances by Capella Gray, Maya the Dawn, The Artist, and more. This is a night you don't want to miss. Let's celebrate Black artists and the legacy of real Brooklyn on Thursday, June 19th, with music and skating starting at 6 p.m. For more information, go to intertwineproductions.com. Hour of R&B brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365.
This is your #1 station for R&B and the community.
The power is in your hands.
107.5 WBLS HD1, New York.
Good morning, and welcome to Sunday Morning with Reverend Al Sharpton. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm coming to you live from the Houston, Texas Church Without Walls. Pastor Ralph West, I'll be preaching here in a few moments, and then heading to the cemetery where the remains of George Floyd and his mother is, where 5 years ago today, George Floyd was killed in Minneapolis, Minnesota, with a Minneapolis police officer had put his knee on his neck and left his knee on his neck for over 9 minutes until he had killed him. Movements broke out all over the world, and I remember the day after he was killed. Attorney Ben Crump called me with his brother, George Floyd's brother, Falonis, and asked me to come to Minneapolis and to help lead some of the marches and rallies, and to do the eulogy at his funeral, and then bring his body back to Houston, Texas, where George grew up and lived. All of his family was in Houston, not Minneapolis. And it was the funeral I did in Minneapolis, and then here in Houston, his final funeral, and laid him to rest at the Houston Memorial Gardens, 2426 Cullen Parkway, in Pearland, Texas. You that want to join the family and I at the cemetery for this service at 10:15 Houston time. You're welcome to do so this morning. 10:15 Houston time, we will have a service at the Houston Memorial Gardens at the grave of George Floyd 5 years later, 2425 Cullen Parkway in Pearland, Texas. And it is with some review and some regrets and some hope that I face this day, because history tells me that every time we made a step forward, there was a step backwards. I said just a few moments ago on MSNBC that we forget that right after the 1963 March on Washington, that Dr. King made that historic speech known as I Have a Dream. It was just a few weeks later, they bombed the church in Birmingham and killed those 4 little girls. Every time there's a great move forward, there's backlash. And those of us that are in the movement for a while understand there's going to be backlash. But we must be committed to not only fight when the sun is out, but fight when it appears like clouds are over us. And clouds are over us 5 years later. The Department of Justice under Donald Trump announced this week the timing I couldn't miss. this week, the week of the 5th anniversary, that they were going to end the consent decrees in the city of Minneapolis, where George Floyd was killed, and the city of Louisville, Kentucky, where Breonna Taylor was killed. Consent decrees is that the federal government would oversee policing and make sure there was no police abuse. So for the Trump administration, the way they commemorate George Floyd is to undo some of the things that came out of the George Floyd movement. But that's why we have to be determined to keep going. And that's the pledge we're going to make at George Floyd's funeral. George Floyd's gravesite today. Also tonight, this evening from Houston, George Floyd's brother, Philonus Floyd, will join me, and we're going to talk about 5 years later. I will also have on Keisha Lance Bottoms, former mayor of Atlanta, who just announced she's running for governor of Georgia. We'll have a lot on the show. Watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. It is important we keep the movement going. That's why we've called for this national march. August 28th is the anniversary of the March on Washington, but this year we are going to Wall Street. Why are you going to Wall Street, Reverend Al? Because we need to put the private sector on notice that we will not let business as usual go on if we see a rescinding of our rights as people, police rights and policing, but as well as how they do business. Business with jobs, business with the corporate suites, the C-suite as they call it. Business with how many of us are on the board. Business with our contracts they do with black businesses. So you must be at this historic march, August 28th in New York. We're going to march from the African burial ground, 1 mile to the heart of Wall Street where the stock exchange is, and have a huge rally saying we won't go back. For information or to sign up to get my weekly message leading into the march, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. And of course, don't forget to watch Politics Nation. You that are in the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area, don't forget to meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally at the House of Justice in New York. Had great rally there yesterday. People come from out of town even to be with us on Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue in the heart of Harlem. You that can't get to New York can watch it live on Impact Television or at www.nationalactionnetwork.net and our live stream. Because I'm remote today, I have in the studio my daughter, my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter is with me. My oldest daughter is in studio, and my senior producer, Marcus Al Sharpton Bright, is hanging in there to make sure it's right. And we are live, and Dominique will finish the show for me. I want to stay and take a few calls and head to the pulpit to preach. Let me wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. Remember on Memorial Day those that lost their lives fighting for this country. Many fought for this country even though they didn't have equal rights, even though they were in the back of the buses, even though they were in segregated barracks. They fought anyhow. And let's remember them. They died. that we may have a better life. Let's not get amnesia and remember them. So I would hope as we take calls today from around the country that you also call someone's name that you want remembered on Memorial Day. I don't have to agree with all the wars that were fought for me not to memorialize those that fought and lost their lives in it. Dominique, let's get ready to go to the phones. 1-877-544-6290, 1-877-544-6290. I'll take a couple of calls and then I'm going to throw it to you and Marcus Allen.
All right, good morning, everyone. Dominique here, sitting in with the Rev, anchoring the Rev this morning. Rev, let's go to Larry on line 4, listening to us from Indianapolis, Indiana, WTLC 106.7. Good morning, Larry.
You know, I was thinking about our migrant friends. If we go to court, Reverend Al, certainly after we've committed a crime, right? When we go before the judge after we've robbed the bank, does the judge bring you in and give you the money that you was trying to steal and let you go? They don't do that. The due process for somebody who breaks the law, according to our statutes, is to be deported. And another thing with the migrants, we are allowing them as the most humble and giving people on earth, the black people, are giving the migrants our reparations. We have actually let them cut in line on us and take our money from us and all our leaders, so-called leaders.
Wait a minute, let me ask you a question. How are we giving them our reparations?
Do you think when they come over here and stay in New York in those hotels and get food cards and get other cards, that comes out of our money? That comes out of our social safety
How
net.
is that coming out of our money? That is absolutely incorrect.
That's true.
Our reparations, thank you for your call, but just let me respond. Our reparations should come from the government that made billions and built this country, not our Social Security. Our Social Security and our taxes is for our living now, not for what was done in the past. So they're not taking our reparations. You're trying to say that for the money we're paying now in our income taxes and federal tax that pays for the way government works now is our reparations. Reparations is for what has been done to us, not for what we're paying for right now. I totally disagree with that. Thank you for your call, though.
Let's go to 22, listening to us in Harlem, New York, on WBLS 107.5. 22, good morning.
Good morning. Blessings to everyone. I just wanted to start with saying, I would say that the veterans that served in Vietnam War, our young brothers that came back with no support, I don't have any names, but however, they did come back, and we didn't support them in the United States of America because they were people of color. And then the other thing I would like to talk about is also, I heard that the celebration for Malcolm X 100th birthday was amazing. I appreciate the people coming out. I appreciate the people that actually held the gathering. Appreciate the people that got awards and it was acknowledged. And then the other last thing I want to talk about is us as mental health in our community, with all the stuff that we're hearing about, reading about, it's causing a lot of despair. And one of the things I think we should start doing is going back to the old school, the bartering system. If you have right to have beans, check on our neighbors in our building. We can start there, check with our family, pick up the phone, stop texting, so that way we can get a gauge on how people are actually feeling. And thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for your call.
Well, thank you for your call, and I appreciate what she said with the 100th anniversary of the birth of Malcolm X. I give a lot of credit to his daughters, that Dr. Ilyasa and Sister Nale Malak, who stood strong. And we had a press conference at the House of Justice at noon, calling on the city to do something to repair the damage done to this family. The mayor came, and then that night they had an amazing memorial at the Malcolm Malcolm X Dr. Betty Shabazz Center. I was honored to be a part of it and get one of the awards, but there were many others in the name of Malcolm X. Let me also say in that light that we are looking at and denouncing you as Watch Politics Nation last night, the absurdity and insult of what Donald Trump did this week to the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, who met with the president in the Oval Office. They have cut the foreign aid to South Africa. And Donald Trump has said that there's genocide going against white farmers in South Africa, which is a total lie, total absurdity, and tried to confront the president of South Africa with it, who did in his own dignified way push back. And we are staying with South Africa. There's no genocide against white farmers, no evidence of that. This is a lie. Yes, there's crime in South Africa. When you look at the data, whites are much lower in the population and much lower in the victims of crime. But they're trying to race bait. My suspicion, as I said on this TV show last night, is this is about Elon Musk, who's from South Africa and cannot get them to allow his social media Starlink to have a contract to be in South Africa, and they trying to, in my opinion, intimidate the South African government to give him the license, like you do a network in the United States to bring Starlink there. This is all about some scam, which is what Trump usually does. All right, let's go back to the phone, Dominique.
Roy wants to share on this topic, listening to us from Patterson, New Jersey on WBLS 107.5. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning. God bless you. I appreciate you, Reverend Al. I am actually trying to run and stole a little bit of my thunder with regards to this South African stuff, with regards to the president over there. But how is it that the president not taken to task for showing photos of genocidal graves in a country that had nothing to do with South Africa? And my second point to you is, are you aware that there is a segregated community in South Africa called Orania that is 100% white only, no blacks are allowed to live there, and that is something that you guys should Google and look up. We have a racist in the White House.
I've been to South Africa a dozen times. I'm not aware. What is the name of it? What's the name of the community?
It's called Orania, Orania.
I don't want to look that up. And I had former ambassador of South Africa on the TV show last night. I intend to go back. This is absurd, but I want to look that up. Thank you for your call.
Listening to us from Atlanta, Georgia, MAJIC 107.5. Leanne, good morning.
Hi. Good morning, Reverend Al and Dominique. I'm actually listening from Classic 1029, which is the sister station, and I just found out that you all are on, and that's why I just plugged in. But I actually was your communications director for the Western region about 10 or so years ago, under Reverend Truitt. And when I met you, I was telling you about how I was wanting to pursue a career in public affairs radio, and I see that you're holding strong, so I really appreciate that. And I called in with the intention of mentioning economic blackout, and my suggestion, I think I have posted on your socials, but I definitely have posted on Pastor Bryant's socials about, in my opinion, the next target needs to be, now, no pun intended, but the next target needs to be the Walmart brand, because of the fact that the Walton Family Foundation was the second largest contributor to Trump's campaign. And in my opinion, they
And second, I wanted to talk about, and it's kind of connected with the last topic that you brought up about the South African president, but going back to today being the 5th anniversary of George Floyd's death at that time, or murder. At that time, I was actually living in Ghana, and I was on a study abroad program, and a lot of my colleagues in the diplomacy department, before this happened, they would actually defend the then president, number 45, as I call him, the lady at 45. They would then defend him against me as the American, not knowing that, I know the truth of what it's like to be an African descendant here. Anyway.
We're going to run up on the break, but let me say this. We are determined to go after all the corporations and support the corporations that do right. Just like we have supported the sisters that called the boycott out of Minneapolis and then the ministers in Atlanta on Target, we also have had what we call boycotts, supporting people, companies that did the right thing, like Costco. So when you see Target sales have gone down, Costco's have gone up during the same time, which shows our strength and our power. And we're in negotiations right now with Pepsi and a couple of other companies across the board, but we're going at everybody from that mass message August 28th. And let me say this, I'm glad you're in Atlanta. You need to help work with our Atlanta National Action Network office, because you've got skills and we need all hands on deck. Let me tell you, it's never been one organization, one movement, one leader. We had Malcolm and Dr. King and Roy Wilkins and Adam Clayton Powell and the Gloria Richardson and Sandy Rahima and Thurgood Marshall, of course, all at the same time. So all of us need to just stay in our lane and bring our people to the highway of justice. I'm getting ready to go to the pulpit to preach. I'm going to give the show to you, Dominique, so you can continue to take calls and continue to remind people in Houston to meet us at the cemetery 10:15. And you are on the mic. Marcus Allen's in charge.
All right, thank you, Rev, and I know you're going to do what you do and preach well, and thank you for continuing to stand up for us and speak out for us, and wishing you, of course, safe travels. I know we're coming up on a break. Just a reminder for all those who are joining us in New York on August the 28th. Rev has been promoting it, but I want you to take a moment, go to the website, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and make sure you sign up to join us to march on Wall Street August the 28th, 2025. All roads are leading to New York City, and you can organize a bus, you can join us, bring your family, your friends, tell your co-workers, everybody in your community. Let's get together and let's really stand for what we know we can do. Collective power is going to move us forward indeed. So make sure you go to that website, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and get all the information to join us at the march. We're coming up on a break, but we'll be back momentarily. You can join in on the conversation. Call us at 1-877-544-6290. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Liz Black from 107.5 WBLS. I'm here with Dan Butterfico from Butterfico and Associates. Dan, how you doing?
Hi, Liz.
Hi. Look, I have a couple of questions for you, Dan. I want to know, how would a person know when they actually need a lawyer?
Well, if you've been seriously injured and your life is disrupted, you should always ask for legal advice, because you don't know whether do you have rights or not until you ask somebody who just does only this. I've had cases where people didn't think they had a case. They were actually told by other lawyers they didn't have a case.
Right.
I settled that case $2 million, $3 million, one case $5 million. It's really about getting into the facts very deeply, getting to know the client, and trying to figure out a way to get to the end result that you need.
Yeah, I love the honesty that you give when someone calls you. You let them know right away. You don't drag anything out. Hey, you got a case, but you don't have a case. Dan, it's always a pleasure sitting and chatting with you and just hearing your heart. Thank you for that. Injured in an accident? Call Buttafuoco and Associates at 1-800-NOW-HURT.
The following message does not reflect the views of WBLS or its parent company.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security. Finally switched to T-Mobile, because with them, we can be connected here and there.
Let's go to the movie.
And we have Netflix included to enjoy our favorite shows and movies. Now the hard part is getting them to agree on a movie.
Switch today and get a Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus with Galaxy A5 Plus. Your plan price is guaranteed for 5 years. Save today, guaranteed for tomorrow. Visit a store, T-Mobile.com, or call 1-800-T-Mobile. 1-800-T-Mobile. Guarantees monthly price, talk, tax, and data. Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. See exclusions and details at T-Mobile.com. Receive Netflix and put ads on as with qualifying plans.
This is our neighborhood, our block, our stories, our community. And the NYC Health Department's neighborhood health centers are part of us too, bringing support that's close to home with services like health care for all ages, resources for new and expecting parents, a free space for the community to come together, referrals for housing help, food access, nutrition services, and more. It's local and it's open now. All you gotta do is be here. Call 311 or visit nyc.gov/neighborhood health to learn more.
Lunch was great. Greenwich Village is a fun spot.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you alright?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosis and colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall. If you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
The 7-Eleven snack pack gets you 2 taquitos, a bag of 7 select chips, and a large refreshing big gulp for just $5 with 7 rewards. So when your brain is like,
Taquito.
you know it's time for 7-Eleven. Dollar due $624.25. See app for full terms.
Why choose the Sleep Number Smart Bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event. Up to 50% off, plus free home delivery. Limited time. Exclusively the Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it.
the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results
Now, I know you over here doing a great job. You over here doing a great job.
No, he didn't, Chris. Get up on his
Kurt's
feet.
gonna run to the kitchen.
All right, now.
He's gonna come meet me in the kitchen.
But I won't take up all the time. And I just hear some of your callers say 45. Regardless of the fact Donald Trump is the president of the United States, I vote for Harris.
He's gonna come meet me in the kitchen, alrighty? And this side.
In selecting a candidate for president of the United States.